The sky above Vorta-7 was quiet now. No Zarn ships, no signals. No sounds, but inside the war bunker, General Rex Carter didn't rest. He was already working, planning, calculating, and watching. He stared at holograms of space routes and enemy paths. To others, it looked like chaos. To him, it was a language only he understood. Captain Alara stepped into the room. "You haven't slept in 2 days," she said. Carter didn't look up. "Sleep is for after the war." She looked at the screens. "You think the Zarn will return?" "They will. And they won't come alone this time," he replied. "Far across space." The Zarn Council gave full control to the Black Sun Hunters, a shadow unit that never failed. The Black Sun didn't use ships with markings. They didn't speak to the enemy. They didn't leave survivors. They studied Carter like a puzzle. And their leader, Agent Valek, said only one thing. He doesn't fight like a human. He fights like something older. Back on Vorta-7, strange things began to happen. Sensors picked up no sound from the outer perimeter. Drones vanished. Satellite feeds went black, one by one. Alara ran to the command deck. "We're blind." She said. Carter didn't panic. He simply nodded. "They're here." Ain't. He opened a locked. Cased on inside was an old human device, marked level 10 clearance, eyes only. Alara gasped. "That tech is illegal." Carter didn't answer, plugged it into the table. Suddenly new data filled the room. Old Zarn war codes, Hunter ship signals, even Earth's secret battle files. Alara whispered. "How do you have this?" Carter looked at her. "Because I built it." The map lit up. The Hunters were close, only hours away. But Carter smiled. "They think they're hunting me," he said. "But I've already mapped their minds." Alara didn't understand. He explained slowly. "The Black Sun are not machines. They are trained to think like predators. I used to study predators." He tapped on the map. "They will follow fear. So I'll feed them just enough to trap them." As night fell, Carter gave silent orders to the soldiers. They didn't march, they didn't shout. They simply disappeared into shadows. He set up decoy signals, fake weaknesses, and invisible mines. By the time the Black Sun arrived, Vorta-7 looked abandoned, perfect. The Black Sun landed quietly. No warnings, no sound. One by one, they moved across the ground, then dash click. One of them stepped on a sensor. A split second later, pulse wave detonated, shutting down their suits. Then came the fire. Silent turrets, hidden in the rocks, burned the Hunters. Down it wasn't a battle, it was a message. Only one Black Sun unit escaped. Crawling, bleeding, but alive. A drone carried them back to a hidden Zarn base. They said one sentence before dying. "He sees everything." Back in the bunker, Alara watched the recording. Her hands shook. "You didn't just beat them," she said. "You used their own training against them." Carter finally sat down. "It's not about power," he said. "It's about understanding your enemy so well, they start to doubt their own minds." Alara stared at him. "Who taught you all this?" Carter paused, then said no one. He leaned back in his chair and whispered, "I taught myself. After what I saw in the first war, when the monsters came." Lara blinked. "The first war? There's no record of that." Carter smiled coldly. "Exactly. The Zarn Dominion was furious. Their elite Black Sun Hunters had failed. An entire team gone. Now the Zarn War Council no longer saw Rex Carter as just a problem. They saw him as a threat to the future of their empire, so they sent something bigger. An entire fleet on Vorta-7. Alarms rang. More than 20 Zarn warships entered the edge of the star system. "They're coming for you," Alara said. Carter nodded. "Good. Let them." She looked at him in disbelief. "It's a whole armada. We have one colony. This isn't a battle, it's suicide." But Carter was already at the war table, drawing lines across the map. "It's not suicide," he said. "It's bait." Hours later, Vorta-7 went dark. No power, no signal, no movement to the enemy. It looked like a failed colony, abandoned or destroyed, but underground. Carter's plan was already working. He had turned the entire planet into a trap. He had learned one thing in every war. The bigger the fleet, the slower it thinks. The Zarn warships moved in slowly, spreading wide. Their scanners found old cargo ships. Weak life signs. No defenses. Take the planet, their commander ordered. But the moment their troops landed, everything changed. One by one, their ships began losing control. Their radar showed hundreds of faults. Targets ghost fleets created by Carter's drones. Each Zarn ship received different images. Some saw a human fleet approaching. Others saw nothing at all. One ship even fired on its own in the middle of the confusion. Carter launched his real strike. Small human fighters, hidden inside asteroids, flew straight into the chaos. They didn't aim for guns or engines. They hit command bridges and communication relays, cutting off leadership without orders. The Zarn ships turned on each other, thinking they were under surprise attack from both sides. Ilara watched from the underground bunker. This is madness, she whispered. Carter stood beside her, calm and cold. No, he said. This is precision. The Zarn commander finally realized it was a trap. He ordered the fleet to retreat, but it was too late. Carter activated the final part of his plan, the planet's gravity core. Using stolen alien tech, he had reprogrammed Vortiseven's core to send out a temporary gravitational pulse, strong enough to slow spaceflight for a short time. The retreating ships dragged in space like fish in a net, and that's when Carter struck the final blow. A hidden human warship uncloaked just outside the system. Not a large ship. Not a famous one, but built by Carter himself. It fired once a massive EMP charge across space. The result: 19 warships died in seconds. No lights, no engines, just floating metal. Only one ship escaped. Barely, and Carter let it go. Why? Did you leave one alive? Lara asked. Carter turned to her to send a message. Far across space, that last Zarn ship limped back to its empire. The crew reported everything, but no one believed it. How could one man do this? The council asked. The captain replied with shaking eyes. He knew where we'd go. He knew what we'd do. He doesn't fight the war. He writes it. Back on Vortiseven, Carter stood alone, watching the wreckage in orbit. He spoke to himself. They sent a fleet. And all I did was show them how small they truly are. Then he turned and walked away. But in the dark sky above, a new signal blinked. Not Zarn, not human, something old. Something Carter hoped never to see again. The stars were not safe anymore. Across the galaxy, planets burned. Space stations turned into broken metal. Civilizations screamed for help, but no one came. The alien empire called the Zarn Dominion was spreading fast. It had ships with black armor and weapons that melted steel. Where they went, life ended. One human colony, Vortiseven, was next. They sent a distress signal to Earth Command. Their defense systems were weak. Civilians were hiding underground. Soldiers stood ready, but their weapons were too old. They knew what was coming. Everyone was afraid. But Earth Command did not send help. Why? Because they knew sending help would mean one thing: calling back the man they had locked away. A name no one said aloud: General Rex Carter, the man who never lost a war 5 years ago. He led the Battle of Idrissa, battle humans should have lost. His army was outnumbered 10-1, but when the smoke cleared, every enemy ship was gone. And Carter's army stood without a single casualty. People cheered him. Then he disappeared. No one knew why. The news said he retired. Some believed he went rogue. Others thought Earth Command feared him. They were right now. On Vortiseven, Captain Ilara Miles stood on a rooftop, looking at the sky. She was young, but smart. Her father once served under Carter. She had heard stories, some heroic, some terrifying. Command isn't sending anyone, her officer told her. They said we must hold the line alone. Ilara didn't move. Eyes stayed on the stars. What if, she said slowly, We call someone they won't. Her officer frowned. You don't mean yes? She said. I'm sending the signal. Not to Earth Command, but to him. Far away, on a silent moon with no name, an old communicator blinked red. A man in simple armor sat alone, sharpening a long black knife. He didn't look like a general. No medals, no fancy clothes. Just calm eyes and steady hands. He looked at the blinking light. For a moment he didn't move, then he stood up and pressed accept. Captain Alara waited. In the command bunker, hours passed. The Zarn ships would arrive in one day. Then the screen flickered. A message came in. No video, just audio. Captain Alara, this is Rex Carter. Send me full data on enemy movement. I'll handle it. Her officers stared at her in shock. You actually reached him? One whispered. Yes, she said. And, he answered, Con the Zarn flagship, Admiral Hax read a report. Human colony detected. Weak defense, small population. Low risk. He smiled with sharp teeth. Send 2 destroyers. That should be enough, another officer added there. Is a rumor, sir? The humans may have contacted a dangerous leader, a general. Which one? General Rex Carter, Hax laughed. Is that name supposed to scare me? One human cannot stop a fleet, but still. He ordered 3 more ships to join the attack. Carter arrived at Vorta 7 quietly. No grand entrance. He landed in a small, old ship one he had used years ago. Ilara met him in person. She expected a giant man, but he was normal-sized. Calm, quiet. You really came, she said. I never ignore a call for help, Carter. Replied, now, show me your defenses. She took him to the war table. He studied the map like it was a puzzle. Then he smiled. They'll attack here, he said, pointing at a narrow canyon. How do you know? Lara asked. Because that's what I would do. The next day the alien ships came. 5 Zarn warships entered orbit. Fighters rained from the sky. Lasers cut through the clouds, but Carter was already ready. He had placed old fusion bombs under the canyon floor. The moment enemy tanks entered, boom, the whole valley collapsed. Then, using radio jammers and mirror drones, he made the enemy think they were surrounded. They fired at shadows. His forces moved silently in tunnels and caves. One by one, the enemy units vanished by nightfall. The Zarn force was destroyed. No human soldier had died. Alara looked at the battle screen in shock. That was impossible, she whispered. Carter stood behind her. That was just the beginning, he said. They'll come back. Bigger, stronger. Ilara asked him the question everyone feared to ask. Why did Earth ban you? Carter looked at the stars. Because I never lose, he said. When you never lose, the people above you get scared. Word of the victory spread fast. The colony of Vorta 7 was still standing. 5 Zarn warships were gone. And the name Rex Carter was being spoken again, this time in whispers. Some said he was just lucky. Others said he used alien tech. But the soldiers who fought beside him, they knew better. They saw how he moved before the enemy did, how he predicted. Each strike, every trap worked perfectly. They called him the Ghost General, because when he fights, the enemy never sees him, only their end. Far away, deep in Zarn territory, a council of warlords met in secret. Admiral Hax was not laughing anymore. He threw a metal table across the room and shouted, "One man destroyed an entire unit." Who is this Rex Carter? A quiet alien named Vor replied. He's human, but different. He thinks like us, but darker. He's just one man, Hax growled. Vor looked at him calmly. That's why you're afraid. Captain Alara watched as Carter trained her soldiers. He didn't raise his voice. He didn't insult anyone. But when he spoke, every soldier listened. Forget the rule book, he told them. The Zarn don't play fair. We won't either. He showed them how to hide in plain sight, how to use shadows and timing, how to set traps without being seen. You're not soldiers now, Carter said. You're ghosts, like me. At night, Alara asked Carter a question. You always win. But how? It's not just strategy, is it? He looked at her, then at the stars. War is not about power, he said. It's about fear. If the enemy fears you more than they trust their orders, you've already won. Ilara nodded slowly. And do you fear anything? Carter was silent. Then he said, yes. I fear the day I stop caring who gets hurt. Meanwhile, alien scouts returned to the wreckage of Vorta-7's battlefield. They expected to find debris, maybe survivors. They found nothing. No bodies. Weapons. No signs of fighting. Only silence. It was as if the Zarn soldiers had been erased. Impossible. One scout whispered. Another scout found a single item in the dirt. A small, cracked human dog tag. It had 2 words scratched into the metal. Rex Carter. The Zarn Dominion knew they had a problem now. They declared Rex Carter, Class 0, threat the highest level of danger in their empire. They didn't send just more ships. They sent a special hunter unit. It's the Black Sun. Trained to track leaders. Trained to kill quietly. The order was simple. Find the human general. End him. No mistakes. But even they didn't understand what they were walking into. Ilara received a new message from Earth Command. It was not congratulations. It was a warning. You are cooperating with a band commander. Cease all contact. Carter's not to be trusted. She showed the message to Carter. He read it quietly, then deleted it. They're afraid, he said. Afraid of what? Ilara asked. Carter looked her in the eye. Afraid that I'll show the galaxy what one human mind can truly do. That night, Carter sat alone, watching old data feeds battles. App's alien tactics. Suddenly, a strange signal appeared. Encrypted, ancient, not Zarn, not human. It repeated a single line. The first war never ended. It just waited. Carter froze. He whispered to himself, no, it can't be back. But deep inside, he already knew. Something worse than the Zarn was coming. Something even he didn't fully understand. And he might be the only one left who had seen it before. Vorta-7 was safe. For now, the Zarn fleet was destroyed. The colony was quiet. General Rex Carter was not celebrating. He stood alone on a ridge. Watching the stars, Captain Ilara walked up beside him. You saved us again. She said. Carter didn't answer. Something's wrong, she added. He finally spoke. They're not the real threat. Later that day, Ilara received a secure message from Earth Command. It wasn't thanks or praise. It was a warning. Carter is acting without authorization. He must return to Earth immediately. Do not follow his orders. This is your final notice. She stared at the screen in shock. He saved the colony. He saved Earth's name, and they still want to shut him down. She showed the message to Carter. He read it, then deleted it without emotion. They're scared, he said. Of what? She asked. Carter looked at her with tired eyes. They're scared of what I know. That night, Carter took Ilara deep into the old mining tunnels of Vorta-7. They walked through rock and dust until they reached a sealed vault. Covered in rusted warning signs from an older time, he placed his hand on the panel, opened with a hiss. Inside was a forgotten data correntiant, glowing faint blue. This is from the First War, Carter said. Illyra's eyes widened. The First War? That's a myth. Carter shook his head. No, it was real. A war so old. No one wanted to remember it. He activated the core. A hologram appeared, fuzzy, broken, but still alive. It showed a massive alien structure floating. In space, thousands of ships destroyed around it, and one sentence blinked on the screen. Project Warden Protocol, failure to contain Subject Omega, Ilara whispered. What was Omega? Carter answered without blinking. Not what? Who? A being that doesn't follow our rules of war. Something that taught me what true fear is. Back on Earth, a secret meeting took place in the deepest level of United Command headquarters. Generals, politicians, and intelligence officers sat around a dark table. One said, "We should have erased him years ago." Another replied, "You can't erase a ghost." They all knew the truth. Rex Carter hadn't been banned because he was reckless. He was banned because he saw something Earth was never supposed to see, and he refused to stay quiet. On Vorta-7, Ilara was shaken. Fought something like that? And survived? Carter stared into the dark vault. I didn't win, he said. I just escaped. But I brought something back. A piece of it. He held up a small device, black and smooth, humming softly. It talks to me sometimes. Or maybe it listens. I don't know anymore. Lara backed away. That shouldn't exist. I know, Carter said. But now that the Zarn are involved, this thing has started to wake up. Suddenly, the lights in the vault flickered. A cold wind passed through, even though they were underground, and the device glowed bright red. Carter stared at it. It knows, Ilara whispered. Knows what? He replied slowly, carefully. It knows the galaxy is watching again. What's to finish what it started? Outside the vault, the stars above Vortiseven began to shift. A strange signal appeared on deep-range scanners. Readable. Not Zarn, not human. And Carter just watched it with quiet dread. They're not coming for war, he said. They're coming for me. Far above Vortiseven, something strange moved in space. It had no engine trail, no radio signal, no heat. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't alive. But it was getting closer. General Rex Carter watched the deep space scanner. The object was old, silent, and wrapped in metal older than any human record. It's here, Carter said.
What?
Just like before. Ilara stared at the screen.
What?
Is that thing? Carter answered without blinking. It's not from this galaxy. It's not Zarn. It's what they ran from before they became conquerors. She looked at him, confused. The Zarn ran from something, he nodded. Long ago. Before they had empires, before they had warships, they found this thing drifting between stars. They tried to control it, and it destroyed them. Carter opened his private war files. Inside was a videograni, shaky, full of static. It showed a battle years ago. On a distant world, ships exploded in silence. Troops screamed without sound, and in the middle of the chaos stood a floating machine, black and smooth like glass. No weapons. No crew. Just presence. Ilara whispered. What is that? Carter replied, it doesn't kill with fire. It kills with thought. Turns soldiers into shadows. It learns your mind, then uses it against you. The object in space was getting closer. Earth Command saw it too. They scrambled to respond, sending drones, warships, and science teams. But Carter knew it was useless. You can't shoot what doesn't think like us, he said. They'll try anyway, Ilara said. And they'll die. Carter answered. Ilara asked him the question that had haunted her for days. What are you really trying to do, Rex? Save us? Or hide something? He turned to her, his voice colder than before. I'm trying to keep the galaxy from waking up something that should have stayed buried forever. Suddenly, the device Carter had hidden, the one from the vault, began glowing again. Bright red. It floated into the air. And strange symbols appeared across its surface. Ilara took a step back. Is it alive? No, Carter said. A key to what? She asked. He looked her in the eye. To the weapon that should not exist. They traveled to a distant moon, a place Carter had locked away in his memory. Deep under its surface was a chamber, black walls, smooth and cold. Carter placed the device in the center of the floor. The ground rumbled. A machine rose from the pit, tall, silent, and terrifying. It had no lights, no control panels, just one seat. Ilara gasped. Is that a ship? No, Carter said. It's a thinking machine. It's one that listens only to me. He told her the truth. Years ago, during the First War, he found this weapon half buried in a dead world. He tried to destroy it. He failed, so instead, he bound it to his mind. Only he could control it. Only he could keep it from waking. That's why Earth banned me, he said. Not because I won, but because I came back with this. Ilara stepped forward slowly. You've been carrying a galaxy killer in your head. He nodded. And now it's waking up, because something stronger is coming. Back in the stars, the object finally entered orbit above the moon. Earth warships opened fire. Nothing happened. Then, one by one, The warships went silent. No explosions, no damage, just emptiness. Their crews vanished, their systems froze, and the objects simply watched. Carter placed his hand on the machine's surface. It began to hum. Alara stared at him, horrified. "Are you going to use it?" Carter looked at the stars. "I must. I'll use it to end whatever this thing is, even if it ends me too." The sky above the moon turned black, not from clouds, but from the shape, the object that now hovered above it. It made no sound, had no crew, sent no message. But across the galaxy, everyone felt it. Zarn warlords stopped their battles. Earth Command went silent. Even pirates, smugglers, and forgotten planets turned their eyes to the stars. Something ancient had returned. Inside the hidden chamber, General Rex Carter stood before the weapon, a machine not made by humans, a mind not built by life. It hummed softly now, like it was listening. Captain Alara stared at him. "You said this was a war you never wanted," "It is," Carter replied. "But it's the one I was born to fight." Flashback. A memory from Carter's past. He was young. A soldier, brave, loyal. He led a mission to an unmarked world with ruins no map had. There, he saw the truth of First War. Not just ships, but gods made of metal, voices and minds. Weapons that erased time itself. He escaped, but he didn't come back clean. He came back, changed Earth Command, feared him, banned him, erased the mission. But Carter remembered everything now. The machine opened. Carter stepped into the seat. It didn't have buttons or weapons. It connected directly to his mind. He gasped. As old memories, broken thoughts, and hidden pain came rushing back, Alara grabbed his arm. "Stop. If you bond with that thing again, you may not come back." Carter looked at her, and for the first time, she saw it. Fear not of the enemy, but of himself. "I don't want to become what I once saw," he said. "But if I don't, we all end here." Suddenly the object moved. Not like a ship. It bent space. Earth's last 3 warships floated in orbit. They turned their guns. But it was too late. One by one, the ships vanished, not destroyed, erased, as if they never existed. Alara's voice trembled. "What is it doing?" Carter answered. "Learning, testing, choosing its battlefield." Then it spoke, but not in sound, in thoughts. A voice inside Carter's mind. "You are not part of the code. You should not be alive. Return the key, or be rewritten." Carter gritted his teeth. "You erased billions once, not again." The machine around him activated fully. Carter's eyes turned sharp, glowing slightly. He no longer spoke with words. He sent commands through thought, across the moon's surface. Hidden weapons rose, not human tech. They were from the First War, buried for ages, now answering only to him. A battle unlike any other began. The black object sent waves of distortion time ripples, space folds, energy spikes. The surface cracked, light disappeared. But Carter was ready. He bent reality back, fighting not with guns, but with ideas, memories, and pure will. He used the enemy's code against itself. Alara watched in awe and fear. The moon shook. The stars blinked strangely. She whispered, "This isn't war. This is rewriting reality." Inside the machine, Carter saw everything. The enemy's mind, its goals, its origin, and then its weakness. It was not just a destroyer, it was a recorder, keeper of balance. And Carter was the imbalance. He focused all his strength into one final thought. "You want balance? Then count this as your loss." A blinding light filled space. Then silence. The black object disappeared. Gone, not destroyed. Just retreated. Carter slumped in the seat, barely conscious. Alara ran to him. "Rex, are you?" He opened his eyes weakly. "I stopped it," he whispered. "But I didn't kill it." Outside, the stars were normal again. The threat was gone for now. But Carter knew what Alara was too afraid to say. "It will come back. It always does. Because I'm still here." 4-7 was silent. The sky was clear. The enemy was gone. But the people didn't cheer. They didn't celebrate. They just stared at the stars, afraid of what might return. In the old bunker, Captain Alara sat beside General Rex Carter. He was weak now, pale, quiet. The machine he had used. The ancient weapon was silent too. He hadn't spoken since the battle ended. Alara touched his arm. "You've saved us again?" Carter opened his eyes slowly. "It's not over," he whispered. "It's just quiet now." Word of the battle spread across the galaxy. Earth Command received reports. But they didn't release them to the public. The official statement was short. Enemy threat neutralized. Situation contained, but the truth, they had no idea how Carter did it. They didn't understand the weapon. They didn't understand the enemy. And most of all, they didn't understand him. The Zarn Dominion received the news. Too, they called off all attacks. One warlord wrote only 3 words in his final report: "Do not follow." Back on Vorta 7, Carter stood at the edge of the cliff, looking out at the stars. Alara walked up beside him. "You've won every war," she said. "But I don't think you ever wanted to." Carter nodded. "I never did. I wanted to stop them before they started, but peace never listens." Alara asked, "What will you do now?" He didn't answer for a while. Then he said, "I'll disappear." "Disappear?" He looked at her with calm eyes. "If I stay, they'll use me. Or they'll try to kill me again. Or worse, they'll ask me to fight once more." He handed her a small chip, a data key. "What's on it?" she asked. He replied, "Everything. Every battle. Every secret. Every lie Earth Command tried to bury." Alara stared at it. "You're giving it to me?" Carter smiled. "You saw what I saw? Yet you stayed when others ran. I think you'll know what to do." Later that night, Carter left Vorta 7 in silence. No crowd, no lights, no goodbye. He flew into deep space in a small, unmarked ship, and no one saw him again. But legends grew. Whispers spread on war fronts and dark stations. A ship with no flag had appeared near a pirate fleet. They surrendered without a fight. A dying colony had been saved by traps no human mind could build. A voice, cold and calm, had warned an empire, "Stand down, or I'll stand in." Some believed he died that day. Others believed he became part of the ancient machine, that he was no longer fully human. But those who knew him best said something else. He didn't disappear. He simply stepped out of the game, because he'd already changed how it's played. Final message. Rex Carter never lost a war. Not because he had the strongest army. Not because he had the best weapons, but because he understood one truth. War is not just about fighting. It's about controlling how the fight begins. And when you control that, you've already won.